take those.
Mark, shake it. Dance, Mark.
I'm not told it was going to be physical exertion.
Yeah. We're going to force our podcast people to dance for us. That's going to be a new thing. We'll see if we can come up with the best, hey?
Yes.
A little shake there. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Good. Good morning,
Fantastic.
RJ.
Good morning.
Did you work out today, Mark? Question number 1.
I did not.
Question number 2. Why?
I'm because I work out at night. I'm not a morning person.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So you'll get
Yeah.
that workout in. Are you following us?
I am, for sure.
Awesome.
Workouts are really good. The first one down in the basement by myself is a little weird, I got to be
Yes,
honest. But
it
once
is.
you get into it,
Yes.
it's all good.
Yes. Yeah. So you got a little basement set up?
Yeah, I just got a space in the basement and get the iPad down there and a speaker, and away you go.
Good. Hey, do you have any weights or equipment? We're maybe trying to incorporate a little bit of things to see what people have.
Yeah, what do you have?
I do, actually.
You do?
Yeah, I've got some free weights. I've got a machine as well, so I could do all of that stuff, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so quick introduction. Our guest today, Mark Jones from Olafson and Jones, one of our Referral Challenge sponsors. 2 of our members who come and sweat it out in my class every day. They crush it. They're awesome. And we're lucky to have you on our podcast because, you know the drill. The coronavirus, it's taken over the news. It's taken over everybody's lives. And, of course, we want to know what's happening with our money. Yeah. And, taxes and all that kind of stuff. So RJ, actually, he's been dealing with it. We're all dealing with it, but he's dealing on the business side of things. So I'm going to pass it over to RJ. He's got a bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
So be ready, Mark.
Well,
I'm ready.
I've been working with Olafson and Jones for at least 10 years now, and I've gotten nothing but great advice. In fact, whenever there's an update, Tanis texts me right away, and so I love that. So thanks for being on the show. We're just going to dive right into this. And a lot of communities are actually, and it's interesting because prior to this, Rick and I were talking about that. A lot of businesses kind of like stay in their own bubble, right? Like not even just the same industry, but a lot of businesses don't do businesses with other businesses that are local unless they absolutely have to. And if they do, it's kind of like a secret partnership, right?
Yep.
Like Rick and I, it's obvious that we work together, right? Like CSP is Fit Club is CSP, right? And now you guys are part of the group, and that's kind of what this is all about, right? Like we were talking, what is like our mission with this podcast? And the mission with the podcast is to, as you get into shape, you start realizing that you've got to surround yourself with champions. You need to surround yourself with people that are like-minded. And when you start to go from the gym, from like this becomes your third home, right? So you go from work or home to the gym, back home, right? This is your new triangle. And so now you need to surround yourself with people that are within those 3 spheres, right? Because if you're going from work and then you're going to the gym and then people want to hang out with you and you're like, I got a family, I got other things going on. So like if you want to join, when people want to do business calls with me, I won't do business with anybody that won't sweat with me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And I get people, hey, we got this best thing that's going to bring your business to the next level and we're going to work together and we're the number one. And I'm like, hey, well, yeah, let's go next week. Let's do a workout. And then as soon as they like start to, something came up or, first is like, do they say yes?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if they say no, then I'm like, hey, when you're ready to come sweat with me, let's talk business.
Yeah. That's
right?
how you vet them real quick.
I vet
real
them right
quick,
away.
just like that.
I got lots of people that I can do business with.
Mm-hmm.
Every industry is the same. And in fact, I've moved away from people that they were clients and then they stopped being clients. And so now I've shifted all, you know what I mean? Like I've shifted my business to the people that want to do business with me.
Mm-hmm.
And like fitness is a key element in your life. And
Of
so
course.
if you're not taking care of yourself, how do I know you're taking care of my finances?
Yep.
Right? You could be the smartest guy, but if you're not taking care of yourself, what good is that to me if you're dead tomorrow? Right?
Yeah.
That's something you actually have to consider these days.
Yeah,
it actually
for
is.
sure.
It
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no
and so that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build businesses that are all kind of within that 3 sphere, right? So that's how this is relevant to Fit Club. So I want to start this off with the banger. Let's start with the base of the platform of the totem pole. Excuse me. What are the options right now for the regular Joe? Meaning the person that is working for big corporate, meaning the person that is working even for like, large all the way down to medium sized businesses. So someone not like you, someone maybe that's either working for maybe MPI or WCB, right? Like let's just start there, right? Because some people might not know.
Right.
So what do they got to do to
For
get
sure.
paid?
Well, there's a bunch of things. Most of the answers, this is you guys both know this. Most of the answers in accounting are it depends, but there's a bunch of options for what people have. The biggest one, obviously, is employment insurance.
Yes.
So if you're working for a big company, they've closed down, you can apply for employment insurance through the regular channels. They've made a couple of enhancements to the program. So if you're quarantined, if you're sick, if you're caring for somebody, there is potentially a waiver of that 1 week waiting period for employment insurance. It's case by case basis, and you have to phone or go online to do that. If you don't qualify for EI, there's a new program that has just come out, literally just come out yesterday. It's called the Emergency Response Benefit. And basically what it is, if you don't qualify for EI, and that includes people that haven't worked long enough or self-employed, or are collecting certain EI benefits, you can get this emergency response benefit. It's effective from March the 15th for a period of 4 months. You can apply starting April the 6th. This is through Canada Revenue Agency, so it's your My CRA account if you're hooked up online, or there'll be a dedicated toll-free number that will go live April the 6th. Okay. There's some qualifications on it. You have to be at least 15 years of age, you have to be a resident of Canada, and you have to have at least 5,000 in employment earnings. Based on the information that we have, and there's more information coming out, so this is based on the information available. Yeah. Based on that, you would qualify. You have to cease work for reasons related to COVID. And it doesn't mean you have to have it. It just means your employment has to shut down, your business has to shut down for at least 14 consecutive days. If you quit, you're not eligible. But your business has to shut down. So those are the big ones, really. That provides up to $2,000 a month over 4 months. If you're, I'm sorry.
So Mark, you're getting ahead here. Can we just focus? So I want to get into that. Okay, so that's the business owner. But so for anybody, the regular Joe that's working for MPI, somebody that is working for maybe No Frills, right? Like, so what they're doing right now, basics. I know you're like eons ahead of all of that, but some of our viewers still might not be on EI because they don't know what to do. So what is it that they need? What are those people that what do they need to do right now?
Right. So those are the two programs. That program also applies to just people that are working that for whatever reason don't qualify for EI. Okay. For most people, they're caught up by employment insurance. Last week, over 1 million Canadians applied for it. Yeah. That's the way to go. Yeah. Communicate with their employer, though. Hopefully their employer is communicating with them on sort of what's happening with their business, what they see as happening with their business a week from now, 2 weeks from now, that sort of thing. Right. There's also job share programs that are available. So some employers are doing, through EI, doing a job share program where they're saying, look, we're going to slow down. You're all going to work 4 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever. Yeah. And this employment share program will help offset the costs.
Okay. I think to answer your question, too, maybe in even a more simpler term. So I applied for EI, first time in my life I've ever done this before. I didn't even know how to do it. So you get a ROE. What is that called? From the employer. Yeah.
Record of employment. Yeah.
Record of employment. So that gets sent to you from your employer, and then you go online, and it takes about now it took me almost 2 hours. I feel because that system is very backlogged. It took forever for everything to move forward, but that's how you do it. So you got to have all your information, your SIN number, the ROE. They're going to want those numbers, and then just some other personal stuff. I would say 2 hours. Hopefully, it's less than that. Yeah. And another thing that was a little confusing, and maybe something you can clarify, Mark, is when we all get paid in 2 weeks. We all get paid in 2 week increments, but they were asking for 1 week increments. So unless you have tracked your hours, if you're an hourly employee and you have a record of it, is the right thing to do is just divide it in half?
Your record of employment that's filled up by your employer, there's based on your pay period. There's qualifications on what they report on a 2 week period. So if you're paid every 2 weeks, it shows your last 26 pay periods on that. That's what you need to upload and take to EI.
Okay, but that's fine. But they asked me specifically for weekly earnings. So all I did was cut it in half.
Yep, perfect.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, for most people, you have kind of a standard earning that you have every 2 weeks or every whatever. So yeah, you can just cut it in half if
Okay.
they're asking for that.
Okay.
To your point, Rick, though, a couple hours is not uncommon. We're hearing that. The website is absolutely overloaded. So it lags, it kicks you out, it stops you in the middle. There's no question.
Yeah.
So
And just to
not uncommon.
And to address that, just so you know that once you answer the fourth or fifth question, they give you a little code. So you write that down. So if you do get kicked off halfway through, you just enter back on. They give you the code, and you pick up right where you left off. So that was actually giving me a little anxiety. I was thinking, I'm going to do all this. They're going to kick me off. I got to do it again.
Yeah.
So that was something that I wish I would have known right from the get go. But they thought of that as well.
Okay. So
One other little.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say one other little tip. Do it early in the morning. Everybody's on in the afternoon, so get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Apply for EI, then do the workout.
Yeah. There you go. I love it.
Good. Perfect. Great advice.
Okay, so everybody get up early, get onto that website. What do they look up? Like, what's the website called? Government
It's
Canada.
Service Canada. I'll send you the link, and you can maybe send it out and share it.
Yeah, we'll put it into the description here. Okay, so they click that link. Make sure to have your ROE ready on your SIN number on your ROE. Well, it should be on the ROE. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it's on the ROE. Yeah. You
and
should
then
have all
after
that.
it shows them a breakdown of everything that they've gotten paid for this year, kind of thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then so they're going to ask, what is your weekly earnings? Is that what they ask?
That's what they wanted to know, how to break it down by week. They wanted to know your best what was it? Your 2 or 3 best and your 3 worst.
You take the average.
And then they take the average. But mine comes in 2-week increments, so I just split it in half. So that's how that was.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and I guess they average it.
Got it. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, well, that's good to know. So for anybody out there that hasn't applied for EI, they're shortening the times. Get on it right away if you expect to get paid in the next week or 2 or whatever, however long it's going to take to get that money. Does that money get directly deposited? So are they going to need banking information and all that stuff too?
They do.
You can set up for direct deposit. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I very much encourage people on any of those programs set up for direct deposit.
Yeah,
exactly.
Another thing, too, before you go forward, RJ, I'm not sure where you're going with the next question, but one thing that they also ask me, or they'll ask everybody, is do you have a business? I wasn't sure. I just answered everything honestly. I don't know if that's going to affect my EI or not, but they wanted to know my my business number, so that you'll have to have that if you have a business and you're still applying for EI. And then they asked a few other personal questions or other questions just respect to the type of industry that you're in and stuff like that. And the other thing they want to know is your mother's maiden name. So make sure you know that because that's important too.
I just feel like right now there's just so much gray area. Like, you know what I mean? What do I qualify for, right? And okay, we're going to get into that because to tell me that I can't work for 14 days is telling me that I'm shutting my business down in 14 days. Yeah. Because if I'm not, if I don't have relevancy, meaning you don't see me on social media, if I'm not sending out emails, if I'm not contacting customers, what's the chances of us, those customers coming back? You know what I mean? So that's just ludicrous to me to tell me to do that. But anyways, I want to start from the top up, meaning landlords. Okay. So I want to know about options for landlords. Then I want to know what are the options for the tenants, and then we're going to get into what are the options for the business owner, because the business owner has to pay some type of rent. So it doesn't matter what we have ready to go for us. $2,000 won't cut it, right? So what are the options? So right now, what are the options for landlords? What are they getting? Is there any type of relief or?
No. The short answer is no. There's no sort of program for landlords, commercial or residential. Yeah. All of the big banks have come out and said that they'll work with people on their mortgage payments, but there's not a blanket. And this is residential mortgage payments they're talking about primarily. Yeah. But there's no blanket. Look, you don't have to make your mortgage payments for the next 6 months.
Define that, though, because that's when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just going to keep paying my mortgage, but I'm not going to have to actually pay. So that's basically cutting 6 months of time off. Define exactly what that is. Yeah,
it's a deferral. You still owe the money. It's a deferral. So they're not going to tack interest on if you qualify, but you still owe the money, right?
I heard that they are still. So you're still paying the interest.
It depends.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Some places are. Some banks are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but I've heard some banks that are still charging interest. I've heard of some banks that are not charging interest. Okay. So it really varies from bank to bank and situation.
I called my bank like last week. As soon as this all hit, I heard about this. I called my bank. It took me 3 hours to get them on the phone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's calling that.
Yeah. That's the advice everybody wants is call your bank. It's like, well, if you have 3 days to sit on the phone, I guess you can
it's going to be 3 days.
And
for sure.
They don't want to. I was lucky. I actually sent an email over to one of our old members who used to work at Royal Bank, who put me in touch with somebody, and that person phoned me.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any kind of a connection, and she was panicked. She had no answers. Like, it was probably one of the worst things I could have heard was the higher up from my bank being like, I don't know, I don't really know. Like she just had that energy in her voice where it was very not reassuring to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can't really count on the banks to give us any information as well.
So the best advice for somebody with the mortgage: keep paying your mortgage, because even if they say they're defer. So that's the thing. Do you have to call your bank and say, hey, can you defer my mortgage? Or are they just going to go ahead and do that for everybody? Or are they going to make us all suffer and do 3 hours on the phone?
No, you have to get in touch with them. I don't recommend calling. I recommend sending an email. And if you go onto your bank's website, there's contacts and links and things like that.
Okay.
So let's back up a little bit from that. Even like it comes down to what your personal situation is. Look at to your point, RJ.
Yeah.
Can you still pay your mortgage? If you can, well, keep paying your mortgage.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't free money. It's a deferral that you'll still owe at the end of it.
Yeah.
So, talk to your bank if you need to, but be realistic about all of your bills, what you need to do.
Yeah.
So can you define this? So let's say that you get deferred for 6 months, okay?
Yeah. So
let's say it's a 1,000. So you owe $6,000 when this is all said and done. Do you think the bank is going to say, okay, cash call, I need $6,000, or are they going to split that up into payments and then just kind of absorb that into the remainder,
or
of the
even
mortgage?
extend it on the back end,
or
right?
extend it? How do you think that's going to play out?
He's stumped.
I think it'll be extended on the back end.
Yeah.
Again, it depends.
Yeah.
But I think it will extend it on the back end.
Okay.
And Mark, just so you know, nobody's quoting you. This is not legal advice at all. This is a free talk that we're doing. So everything that you're saying, if somebody were to bring this conversation up, wouldn't hold you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is all just recommendations. This is a podcast. This is a chat. So there is no legal disclaimer.
Right.
Of anything such sorts, just like us playing
No,
music
for
in the
sure.
background. We're not trying to
all
copyright
this-
music in our background, and they keep cutting off our
Yeah.
sound, and so we're
No,
trying to
I
go in
understand.
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody out there that's
Understand.
filtering
Yeah, I
us,
mean,
Facebook,
information
don't
is-
ban us.
Information is general for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing available for landlords.
That's right.
For
Mark Jones said I don't have to pay my mortgage.
yeah, this guy Mark Jones on a podcast. So there's nothing out there for landlords, which kind of like. I think a lot of tenants are very upset with their landlords because, I have two different landlords going on. My one landlord told me to go get this BDC loan, and I'm now a part of 30. There's 30 different businesses that I've now been added to this email group, and my one landlord said you got to go get a loan to pay your mortgage. That was their answer. My other landlord here, so at McIver Mall, Mar West, right? Shout out to them, and they're like. She sent me a text. She's like, can you tell me if you're able to pay your mortgage or not mortgage, but are you able to pay anything? If not, just let me know that you're not paying it. That was the option she sent to me. I'm like, sigh of relief, right? Whereas my other landlord, they're like, well, we could close your doors in 30 days. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. But, I'm reading about this, and I guess we'll start there, is recommending me to go get a loan to pay my rent isn't the answer, because how long is this going to take? So, this BDC or whatever is giving out a credit at 0.75 interest, okay? Ooh, thank you, right? So I'm going to go take out a $50,000 loan just so I can pay my rent for a facility that I'm not using, because the landlords are refusing to even come to some type of negotiation terms. And so a lot of these businesses don't even qualify for it. Right, so it's like this one business, and I'm not going to mention who they are. She sent out this big email. She's like, "We got denied the loan, the bridge loan, right? Because number one, they took out a loan just to open up their business, so they could be $100,000, $150,000 in debt already, and so let's tack on another $50,000 to what they're already owing. And number two, their business isn't mature enough, so your businesses have to be in business for 2 years."
Sure.
So a lot of businesses won't even qualify. So you're just getting up and running. You're just starting to earn an income. And then, we're suggested to go and get a business loan to pay our rent. It's like, well, if I'm taking out a business loan, the way I'm seeing it's to rebuild my brand, right? Like, I need to take that money and I need to pump it into marketing. I need to pump it into, right? I got to pay wages so that if the government tells me to shut down for 14 days, like, RJ, we're going to pay you $2,000 to go quiet on your business. I'm like, those 2 weeks are going to crush you because everything is accelerated right now. Right? So it's like what used to take. So if I set a 1 month goal, your 1 month goal has now been accelerated to a week.
Right.
Does that make sense? And so
Yeah.
if you go quiet for 14 days, that's like me stopping business for 3 months.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so let's touch into that then. What is this 14 days for us business owners? What is that? Tell us what kind of relief are they giving us?
So there is no blanket relief for it. And so let's talk about the landlord thing, because there's
Okay.
a lot of talk and concern about rent,
Okay.
commercial rent and personal rent.
Keep going.
And we're coming up to the first of the month.
Yes.
So a lot of people's rents are coming due.
Yep.
The experience that we've seen in our clients is exactly yours, RJ. Some owners building owners are able to do it, and some aren't.
Mm-hmm.
We also have clients. You have to think about it from the other side. We have clients that's their only income.
Mm-hmm.
They own a few properties. If nobody's paying their rent, they're earning nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They still have to pay their mortgage,
Yes.
probably. They have to pay their property taxes, the light,
Yes.
the maintenance guy, all of that sort of thing. So this comes back to talk to them about it. Talk
Yeah.
to them in advance.
Yeah.
Be realistic about what you can pay.
Yeah.
And go to them and say, look, I can pay half my rent this
Yeah.
month and half next month, and then
Yeah.
we'll get caught up, work something out with them, and be proactive.
Yeah.
That's the advice. There isn't going to be a government bailout specifically for rent like that.
Yeah.
All levels of government are talking about it. I know that. BC just came out with rent assist,
Yeah.
but that's for low-income individuals. So,
Yeah.
So you really got to
just. Sorry, Rick. go ahead.
Sorry, so you really gotta just open up that line of communication. That's got to be everybody's number one priority is talking the way through it.
1000%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good advice.
1000%.
That's good
Yeah.
advice.
And I know some very big businesses are just not paying rent at all.
Mhm.
Like they
Sure.
sent a giant letter and just saying, hey, like, if you want to continue to do business, let's moving forward. We're not paying you. And like we're talking big organizations.
Yeah. I mean, we all have to do our part and work together
Yeah.
on, like, let's all get through this together.
Yeah.
And you could come down with the hammer of, like, no, I'm not paying. Come and
Yeah.
throw me out.
Yeah.
But what does that do?
Long term.
Exactly what you just said. What does that do to your brand?
Yeah.
Well, this guy, just told us to pound salt and we're not paying your rent,
Yeah.
right? Rather than working with us.
Yeah,
So-
and the other way around too is that it's just like if somebody owed me money, right? Hey, you owe me $1,000. Well, dude, I can't
Yeah.
pay that right now. Can I pay you $100? All right, let's do that, right? What's your
Right.
plan to pay me back? Okay, well, I can pay you back over the course of 10 months. No problem. Something is better than nothing, right? So it's like-
Exactly.
and we can't wait for the government to say, hey, we're just going to give
No.
everybody a ton of money. Like
No.
right now is the time to drop your ego and,
Totally.
and really start to be empathetic with one another, right? We need to work
Yeah.
together. It doesn't matter. We need to work. You could still be earning money, but the other person's not. Be empathetic, right? Like you saw it. We've reduced our membership rates right now because we understand that there's no brick and mortar, right, to come and work out to. So
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
that is on our biweekly option, we've sent out emails. Like we're losing revenue by doing that, right?
Yeah.
But we're like, we understand the times, right? How much does EI cover?
It's a fraction of your regular salary to
Yeah.
a maximum. So you're getting like 55% or something like
Right.
that.
And so we
of
reduce our
your salary.
membership rates by 40%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To bridge that gap, because that's what we do. Like, and we all have to do this.
Yeah, I know.
You do.
Right? Look at the grocery stores. They're not allowing them. They can go and charge $1,000 for a hand sanitizer if they wanted.
Yeah.
And somebody out there will pay that money, right?
Right.
And they're not allowing these places to do that.
Yeah.
To touch on that,
I mean-
hang on, Mike, just so you know
Yeah.
that there are price gouging police out there now.
Yeah.
There's actually
Oh, yeah.
a thing. So if you are a company that is selling hand sanitizer for, even double what it's supposed to, they're going to come and get you, and I think that's fair. You shouldn't
I
be
agree.
you shouldn't be hoarding it. So enough with the toilet paper. You're not going to sell it on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's two dudes in the U.S. that had like 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer,
Yeah.
and the government came down hard on them. They ended
Yeah.
up donating it all to try and save
Yeah.
face, and the
Yeah.
whole world's still like, you guys are.
Well, that guy was probably only taking cash, and now he got audited.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So he's like, I got this box of toilet paper. I'm going to sell you for $1,000.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I didn't see that go through your bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be watching.
I
it.
hope they get audited. I hope all those people get audited.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Special place in hell waiting for all of them.
But yeah, I guess in a time like this, we got to be more empathetic instead of capitalistic
Yeah.
and try and profit off it. We need
Yeah.
to, open our hearts instead of our wallets. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's a great point, Rick. Honestly, there's lots of programs and lots of things available, but I think we all sort of, and this gets maybe a little soapboxy, but we all have kind of a civic duty to take advantage of these programs to the extent that we need them. It's
Yeah.
like the toilet paper thing. Take what you need. Same thing with all of these programs. Take what you need. If you're getting a deal on your rent, take what you need.
Mhm.
Not everything you can get and hoard
Yes.
all of the programs.
At the
I
same
think we all
time,
have
you
an
should
obligation to do
give
it, to your
what you
point.
can. right? So I think a lot of people right now are just expecting a handout. We're going back.
Absolutely.
We're going back to what can you pay your landlord? What can you pay your mortgage? What can you pay your Shaw bill? It's the same thing with our business, right? So it's like we still have we still have bills at the same time. So it's like everybody wants free workouts. Everybody wants free nutrition advice. Everybody wants, to be held accountable to doing these workouts. But then what about, at some point in time, you've got to give back either value. So, the world will run on two things, value or currency, right? But value is always ahead of currency. So if they said that, hey, today, everything, the new currency is toilet paper, right? So last week I swapped a haircut for some toilet paper. The girl was out. I said, no problem. I got extra. Here you go.
Yes.
She didn't want cash. It didn't mean anything to her. So what value can you provide, right? Like what value can you – so if people want to continue to get free workouts, they want to get nutrition advice, they want to get accountability, they want to get motivation, community, then it's like you don't want to pay with your currency that's still sitting in your bank. Everybody's got money right now. It's just not passing hands right now. So if you don't have that – if you don't want to give up your currency, then what value are you bringing to the table, right? Like I will continue to do business with Mark and Tanis because they're not. You guys don't charge me for every phone call. You guys don't charge me for every text message. You guys don't charge me, right? So I'm like the reoccurring. That never even I have a reoccurring bill with you guys. That never crossed my mind to cancel that. Do you know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't. Why? Because you're providing me with enough value to keep that rolling. And as such, I'm not going to say, hey, Mark, can you give me half, but still provide me with the same amount of value that you're doing? And especially if I got it. It's a different story. If I've got it and it's there and it's budgeted, then why would I ask you to decrease, to devalue your service?
Exactly.
Right? And then, but still deliver more.
Yeah.
How does that work out?
Hey, Mark, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So you obviously, when you have your nose in everybody's personal finances, literally, what do you see that? And this is me asking for advice based on you must see a lot of things that are sort of status quo. You probably see a lot of mistakes that are made by people. If you had to give some advice with respect to, say, how to organize your receipts better, or what do you see people really failing at in order to not get the maximum benefits of the taxing system? What would be some advice that you'd give us? It could be personal, it could be corporate.
Sure.
What do you see?
So that's a great question, and it's exactly what you just said. Stay organized. Make sure that you have the expenses that you have, or the deductions, or all of those sorts of things. Make sure that you stay organized. We have some clients that have their stuff organized and totaled, so it's their own double check, and they're working with us to make sure that they're getting all of the credits that they deserve, or the expenses that they have. We have others that bring in literally a bag of receipts, and there's receipts and candy wrappers and hamburger wrappers and chewing gum, and just, here you go, I think I got it all. And that's fine. That's totally fine. And some people are just so busy that that's what they do. But stuff is falling off the table.
Right.
So the more organized you are, the better you are.
Okay.
And then communicate with us. Like, send us an email, call us, whatever. Talk to us about the things that are going on. We've had lots of conversations with clients over the years about, I'm doing whatever it is. And we're like, well, you can deduct that. There's a credit for that. Really? And then, we find them some money that way. So communication, too, is another big one.
I feel like one of the challenges with accountants, and you're not my accountant only because I didn't know you, and I've had my accountant for 25 years, and I just haven't switched that over yet. But I actually find that it's very challenging to speak with him. So one of the things that I've done is kind of accumulate a list of questions, and then, I'll send it to him, and 90 days later, his assistant will contact me, which, it drives me absolutely bananas. But, reassure everybody that, if they become your client, your communication policy is what?
So our Tanis and I have very similar communication policy. That's why we make good partners. Our offices are at the front of our office. If you've been to our offices, you get to talk to us. If you are a client here, you get to talk to the people whose names are on the door. We return our phone calls every day. We return our emails every day. There are times for sure where we can't. So there's no absolutes, but we get back to you. And it's we that get back to you. We hear it time and again. You go to a firm and it's a different junior person that you're dealing with all the time.
Right.
No, you deal with us. You deal with the same person all of the time.
Yeah.
It's huge to us.
Mm-hmm.
The paperwork stuff people don't understand, right? It's the communication with us, with that familiar face. Tanis always talks about one of the things she loves the most is that, you know, she's been doing somebody's taxes for a while, and now you see their kids born, and now you're doing their kids' taxes.
Yeah.
You're part of their family. You're part of their business. That's how we look at it. It's us, not we're just compliance, filing your taxes, that sort of thing.
No, that's
so
awesome.
Communication's key.
So here's another question. So what is the transition from one accountant to another, especially on the business side of things? So if I was going to pick up my business from my account, bring it over to you, how difficult is it? Is it pretty seamless for the most part?
Yeah, pretty seamless.
Yeah.
You know, we say we start with a meeting. We want to get to know you. We want to make sure there's a fit for you and for us, quite honestly.
Okay, fair enough.
And then it depends on the situation, but it is fairly seamless to bring everything over. You know, we'd come up with a bit of a plan and a transition plan. Here's the things that we need. Get all the authorizations signed. Get everything ready and in place. And away you go. It's that easy.
So I got a question here. Can we circle back to this? So what options are there for the business owner? Like, you know, shutting your business down for 14 days. So what is that? So you're talking to me right now. How do I get any type of income in if I don't have income coming in?
So again, it depends. You have to look at your business, and this is what, you know, we sit down and have a conversation about your business specifically. If you're looking for advice, there are a bunch of programs. There's the emergency response benefit program. There's a wage subsidy. But for your business specifically, what things can you do differently?
Keep going. I got to plug the laptop in here.
Okay. Can you go to like a curbside delivery? Can you go to some other system that you're still earning some sort of income? If you have to shut down for 14 days, then some hard decisions have to be made. And lots of businesses have had to make those decisions, including yours.
Yeah.
We got to license people off. We're going to scale back. We're going to do X, Y, and Z to keep the business going.
Yeah.
Your responsibility is long-term, not just this 14 days, but what happens after 14 days? How do we plan for coming back out of the dark and ramping it back up, getting our people back working again, looking after our staff? So that's the big thing.
So,
and then
the first
there's
one
different
is
programs.
How do you make?
Sorry, go ahead.
So what you're saying is the first thing is how do you make adjustments to your current trend of business, right? And so for us, we've adjusted by making everything online, right? Like we now do any of the new sales consults. We're now doing everything through Zoom, where it was like in person. We're doing a lot more phone calling. We've created this community in our group so that we can continue to deliver value to our customers. So that's an adjustment. Now, what about the people that they just don't have any options to adjust, like the balloon lady over here?
Sure.
Like they're doing a lot more deliveries and stuff like that, so they're doing their job, right? There's only like a couple businesses that are open still in this mall, right? And so what are the options for the shoe guy?
So those are great examples. The balloon lady, you have to pivot. You have to find a way to keep open. So we're going to do all the deliveries. Maybe we're going to do free deliveries. Maybe our counter staff that we're working, in the store now, we've closed the store, but they're going to do the deliveries. It keeps them working part-time, something like that.
Totally.
Keeps your business open, keeps some revenue coming in.
Yep.
If you have to shut down completely, there's different programs to help. Talk to your suppliers, talk to your landlord, talk to everybody that's involved about, look, we got to shut down for X time. Here's the plan to come back out strong.
Yeah.
Communication. I like it.
So let's go to that now. What they can't pivot. There's no pivoting, Mark. The shoe guy, he's hands on. He can't do his stuff online. You know what I mean? People don't want to come and drop off shoes. Maybe he does curbside shoe pickup. I get it, right? But what can he do? He has no other options, or he doesn't want to do any other options. What can he do?
So if he shut down completely, he would qualify in terms of revenue coming in, cash coming in. He would qualify for this emergency relief benefit. Maybe it's not enough, but it's something.
Yeah.
And then again, talk to the landlord. Say, look, I'm shut down, and I'm shut down for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I'll look after you, but there's nothing I can do right now. Talk to your suppliers.
Right.
Just put everything on hold as best you can. Look at the cash reserves that you have. Look at whatever amount of cash you can have coming in, and then make as educated of a budget as you can going forward.
So what kind of government relief are there available for the shoe guy?
Right now, the shoe guy is going to get that emergency response benefit. That's at $2,000 a month.
And so what does he need to do? He needs to stop being in his business. He needs to stop can he still take in income? Like, what about if he has reoccurring income? How does that work?
So this is exactly the question that we have right now. The way it reads right now today is that you have to not be working in your business for 14 days. Well, for the shoe guy, what does that mean? He can't be there for 14 days at all. What if he's, to your point, got a little bit of income trickling in?
Yeah.
So those details are coming in the next number of days.
Yeah.
All these programs are done so quickly. It's all ready, fire, aim.
Right. So the best advice for them to do if you plan to open up again after. Oh, Jerome.
No.
We lost him. All right, so I think we got it, though.
Yeah, that was good.
I think we got it. We're still live. I don't know why it's grayed out on Facebook. Anyways, so
let's recap.
Let's recap.
Uh,
Regular Joe's EI expect 2.5 hours.
Correct.
Right? 2.5
and make sure you
hours
have your
minimum.
personal information.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Just wake up at 3 in the morning and do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? What else we do? We have no jobs, so you might as well just get that out of the way.
You
and then
can
do
take
a
nap.
workout.
You
Do a
can
workout
take
at
nap.
7.
Yeah. Landlords and tenants need to work together because right now there is nothing available for that. It could come, but right now you have to have an open line of communication, and you need to establish some type of like negotiation, right?
Right. So there's that skill that we're learning for 2020, right?
There you go.
Is the art of negotiation. That's going to be the new skill.
I need a code here, bro. Pin.
What do you got there? Anyways, hang on, Mark. We're coming. We're just going to put you on the screen. RJ and I are just recapping while we get you back up and organized here.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mark.
We can hear you. Yeah. So, anyways, communication. That's key, right? So start being proactive instead of reactive.
Mark, we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. So we're just recapping. We're talking about communication. I think that was a great little nugget that you threw out there. My suggestion was to be proactive instead of reactive. So start calling all of your suppliers if you're a business person. Try and open up a line of communication with your bank, and see if you can just say, hey, listen, this is where we're at right now. This is my situation. If you have anything to tell me. So communication. Another update with respect to the landlords.
Yeah.
What did you take out of that?
So landlords, it's like right now there is no relief for landlords, which means that there's no relief for tenants. It's got to trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what Mark said is you got to open up a streamline of communication and help them out. So as a tenant, we need to help the landlord out as much as possible. At the same time, the landlord's just got to say, I might have to, either make zero or cut a small loss.
Yeah.
Like I think that's kind of like where we're all at with this. I think with the regular Joe, everybody's got to go a little bit thinner, but also like distribute what you can, right? Because for people that are at home, like right now, the biggest thing is motivation, community, right? Accountability, right? Like you created your own little home gym, but people are going to start to trickle off as the weeks go on, and it's just going to happen. And life is still going to go on. There's 3 options right now people have. Number 1 is that they stop doing things, and then they just wait and kind of sit around and see what happens. This goes for business owners as well. You sit around, and that curve is going to drop. So if 3 to 6 months, maybe even up to a year happens, and you stop everything that you're doing that you've built up a habit for, meaning working out, building into your business, marketing, media, engagement. If you stop that and you just sit on your hands and you wait for things to happen, in 6 to 12 months, 2 things are going to happen. 1, your business is going to flop. Number 2, you're going to get fat.
That's a hard truth right there. It's a hard truth.
No,
you're fat and broke.
Fat. You're going to be fat, broke, depressed, and angry. Yeah, and then you're going to be. Then there's the people in the middle that are kind of doing something, right? They're kind of doing something, and these are usually the people that just, I didn't hit my goal. I plateau. I'm bored in life. I want to go and do the people that get into their midlife crisis. These are those people, right, where they just kind of do something but don't really do anything above average, and so they kind of float through life. So at the end of this, they'll be the same person. There's going to be no growth. They're not going to take anything out of this, right? Those are the people that are kind of doing something. No direction, no goals, no drive. I go to work, I go home. I go to work, I go home, right? They go to the gym. I'm here. Happy to be here, right? Those are the people, right? Okay? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, let's get to the third level, right? So what's the third level? So the people that are seeing this as a growth opportunity, right? Now I could figure out how to eat better, right? Because a lot of us are just, we work out, we go to work, and we don't care about nutrition. It's like, now how can we start to eat better? How can we start to like recover? Right now we got this time. How can I educate myself a little? Maybe
there it is.
Read a book, right?
Yeah.
Like now I have this time. Everybody's got this time. It doesn't matter. I'm even busier now, which is crazy. So I have to like schedule everything, right? Like I have to, and it's just the way I am. I'm busier now than ever, but I want to see my scale grow, and I want to see everybody to take this time and get to that next level.
Mark, I know you're still busy working hard. Have you gained a little more time? And have you gained a little clarity on maybe how things are going to be done a little different? Are you spending a little more time with the family? Are you walking a little bit more? What has this done to you personally, Mr. Mark?
And Rick, we have a question here. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for us, like, it's still tax season.
Yeah.
We're busy. Like RJ just said, we're busier than ever. I mean, we're on the phone answering lots of questions from clients about just, what's going on with them. So it's 12, 13 hours a day, 7 days a week right now. I'm chained to my desk like Beal, it feels like. So.
Yeah. But you're still getting your workouts in.
Still getting the workouts in, still getting the at-home workouts in. Tennis is keeping me accountable, and vice versa. So, we're still doing that.
So we have a question here from Jennifer King. She's actually going to be on the show on Monday. It states you can receive EI benefits if you're still employed but have a disruption in your income due to COVID. So how would this work, because you wouldn't have an ROE?
So still employed, like you're laid off. So you still have your job, you're just laid off. There's an interruption in earnings, and that's what EI is about. So yes, you can be laid off at this point for up to 8 weeks and earn EI without it being a termination of your employment. And that might get extended. That's a longer conversation, but
makes sense.
But so you're still employed, but you're not earning any money because you're laid off.
So what about if you're still employed, but your income is like, some people down to 90%, right? So how does that work? How do you replenish that? Is that even a thing?
So if you're let's say down to 4 days a week or something like that, you may not qualify. You need to look into it specifically. But I mean, if there's a disruption of your earnings, you probably don't qualify for EI. It just kind of is what it is. But there are places like that. There is that, I talked about it before, that EI work sharing program. So if you're 3 days, everybody's 3 days a week. The company can apply for this EI work sharing program so that you're topped up back to your regular wages.
So so that's good to know, actually, because we would like to bring some of our staff back, but only on a couple hours, right?
Sure.
But we can't, it's better for them to be on EI because they're going to collect more than let's say we need somebody just for an hour a day. So what you're saying is that we can pay them for that 1 hour a day, and then EI would top up the rest.
Basically, yeah. So there would be different levels. So let's say you went down to a work sharing program of 4 days a week instead of 5. That's that top up. If it's 1 hour a day or something like that, you're allowed to earn a little bit on EI without it affecting your benefits.
Okay.
Again, it depends.
Okay.
But maybe we can talk specifics. And see which way you qualify for that kind of idea.
Okay, so that's good to know. So for anybody out there, like right now, what business owners are doing, Mark, and like I coach business owners worldwide, like on top of Fit Club, right? And the biggest thing is they're laying everybody off because it's cheaper for them, but it's also more fruitful for their people to be on EI, right? Because like if you're only paying, if I've only got 2 hours of work for you, versus like you were working 8 hours prior, like what is the better, right? And so and a legitimate business won't say, okay, well, let's get you on EI, but you're still going to work for me. You know what I mean? Like that's a big no-no, right? And so that's good to know because if you can only give them a couple hours and then EI is going to top them up, then I think that would be phenomenal for you because they're just okay. So here it is. Sorry, Jen was dancing in the background, threw me right off. So I have that squirrel syndrome when people do erratic things. Anyways, so what all business owners are doing right now is they're laying everybody off. They have to keep their business afloat. Like me, I have to keep my business afloat, right?
Yeah.
I didn't lay off 4 of my team members, right? Because I understand like how this is if I want to keep it as big as I wanted to keep it, I can't do it myself. But most business owners are just laying everybody off and doing it I'm lucky to have Rick come and help out, and Hugo and Carlos, and you know what I mean? They're just here volunteering their time. That's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have people like that, and so business owners now are even more stressed because not only are they still paying for their full rent or whatever it is, and hopefully their landlord will work with them, but now they've taken on the course load of what they had a team of 4 or 5. Now they're down to just them. And so I know some business owners, they've been putting in 14-hour days since last Monday. How is that healthy for you? Right? So if they're able to employ somebody even for, a couple hours a day, and then that employee is still getting that top up from the government, I think that's a phenomenal.
Can I ask you a specific question, Mark?
Yeah, sure.
So I have a business and a job.
Yep.
I have I applied for EI. I don't necessarily have it yet. We'll see if that happens.
Yep.
So let's just say that they started paying me. In the meantime, I do generate some business, and I do a draw, and I pay myself through my company.
Yep.
Down the road, is the government going to say, well, hey, you shouldn't have been on EI because you have another source of income?
Sometimes, yes. There is sometimes a social benefit repayment depending on how much the rest of your earnings for the year are.
Okay.
Just so that not you specifically, but they're trying to avoid people, sort of double dipping, if you will.
Sure.
So you do have to report those earnings that whatever it is that you're making through this time. And then at the end of the year, there are sometimes the need for social benefit repayment. So look at your claim, look at your income, and take the time to learn about where the limits are and make sure that you're on side for it all.
Okay, understood. So if let's say I'm making the money, but I don't necessarily draw it, will that make a difference in the end? If it just sits in the bank account instead of
you have a pretty unique situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a pretty unique situation. So it may or may not. It depends on what the specific numbers come out for the year for you for your other income and what your EI claim is. But that's why they want to know what your business number is. That's why they want to link all of that stuff up. So hopefully they can vet it at the outset that you qualify.
I feel like
because the last thing you want is you got to repay the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, we're talking about empathy. I'm hoping, and I know this is probably a stupid thing to even think about the government showing empathy, but I would hope that they would say, okay, look, and of course they're thinking about everybody. Let's just say they're talking about Rick Mancher. Okay, He got laid off from his job. We paid him 50% of his income. He had all his business shut down for the most part. Like, like I've been putting it out there. I'm down to 10% of what I was doing last year at this month, right?
Right.
So let's just say all of a sudden I get an order or two and I make a little bit of money. I would hope that the government would be like, okay, that's good for you for surviving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think there'll be a little bit of that within the government? Do you think they're going to look back and say like, okay, we get it, so it's okay. You made some money, congratulations. Or do you think it's going to be nah? Whatever the numbers are, the numbers are.
No.
That's how it is, right?
Yeah, there's no chance.
Even though they shut down the whole entire world, you think that they would have a little empathy for the business owner and the laid-off employee?
Well, yeah, no. The Department of Rick Mancher will not help you out. But there are limits, and I got to be honest. All kidding aside, lots of the programs that are out there is a fair bit of empathy from government, and there are some great programs. So I'm they're not all perfect. Yeah. But I certainly see they're working towards helping people out, and there is some. They seem to be erring on the side of getting money into people's hands and helping people out. And there might have to be some overpayments, and there might have to be some repayments, but they are doing their best to help out.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's all work in progress, right? Just like us. Imagine the government. The government. It takes them forever to get any thing done because it has to get approved by 1,000 different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the key that we have to understand, not only as regular Joes, as business owners and as big business owners, is that we have to, number one, we have to stretch it out because we don't know what's going to happen. So even if the government gives you this money, they might ask it for it at the end. So if you're still doing your Amazon shopping and you're doing a ton of big things that are unnecessary, then you have to understand that they could ask for that money back. Number one.
Sure.
Number two is that we all have to kind of work together, right? So it's like instead you cutting a 50% profit margin on some things and you want to still continue to do business with people, then maybe you cut it down to either zero in good faith, right? Or you make a 1% profit so that you can continue to earn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you a question. Forget that you're just as a man, as a father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you give me a prediction? How long do you think this lasts? What do you think? It doesn't have to be the right or the wrong answer. Just tell us what you think.
I think we're well into end of June, into beginning of July. My personal opinion, this is only my personal opinion, kids aren't going back to school this year.
No.
That 14-day shutdown we see in Quebec and Ontario, I could see it making its way into Manitoba. I mean, how could it not?
Yeah.
So I think we're into June, July realistically before it starts to come out. But I also think longer term, can you imagine being shoulder to shoulder in a mall at Christmas time shopping? Like, can you just wrap your heads around people doing that, and the emotional impact of all of this as well, just people getting back to normal life? I think it'll be a new normal for a long time, but it'll start to come back. That's my prediction. That's just my own, like you said, my own prediction, just me.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So wait, quick question. So you're saying June, July, you're saying that before business resumes as normal, or are you saying before they start to say, hey, businesses let's just reopen everything, like before everything's open?
Yeah, so I mean, before it's back to some sense of normalcy, I don't think everything's closed down until June, July. I really don't. But we're still getting into this. The provincial health minister, chief medical officer, came out yesterday and said, we're not talking weeks of this social distancing. We're talking longer than that.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
I think it's going to be a long time.
Great. Mark, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. You gave us
my pleasure.
How do we get a hold of you, Mark?
A wealth of information.
How do people find you on Facebook? What's your Facebook account?
So the best way to get a hold of us is olafsonjones.ca is our website, or WPG Accountant on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or info@olafsonjones.ca.
Are you willing to take on new clients right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are taking on new clients. We've got our existing clients that we've got to look after, but we do have room for new clients. So,
that's great.
looking for new business. Yep.
Great. Have a good day, Mark. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Mark.
We're going to sign out. Yay, we got him dancing. Woo! Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good day.
Yeah, we'll see you later.